thank you so much for doing this.
Great to be with you.
And welcome to British Columbia
great to
again.
be back.
It's always great having you
Thank
here.
you.
Let's talk about the election that we just wrapped up. Mark Carney is our Prime Minister. Your party is the official opposition. You want to stay on as the Conservative leader. Why should Conservatives give you another chance to go to an election to take on the Liberals?
Well, it's a fair question. You know, obviously we wanted to win. I wanted to win more than anyone because I believe in what we're doing. We made some great gains. We added 2.5 million more votes, 25 more seats, made gains in cities, gains among working class people, blue-collar union members, young people, newcomers. But it wasn't enough, so we have to get even better. And we're going to grow our team, grow our approach, and we're going to keep fighting for the things that people believe in and that we, like for example, we won the debate on the carbon tax, the inflation, housing costs, natural resources, crime, drugs, and we've moved the country a long distance by making those principled arguments. And now we have to continue and have the bigger gains still in the next election so that we can form a government that can fully solve these problems.
You won the debate but lost the race, as you know. What did you learn from that you hope to apply moving forward?
Well, I think that we didn't realize that getting, say, 41% of the vote was not going to be enough. It's the biggest share of vote we've had as a party since 1988. But with everything consolidating around the Liberals and a lot of unexpected events coming from down south, we needed to get even more than that. So we have to grow an even bigger tent. We have to advocate for even more people. And I think we need more people to hear the message that we want to bring back the promise that the country had, that it made me, that it made you, that if you work hard, you get a good life in a safe community, in an affordable house under our flag. And that's the message that we have to bring further and to more people so that we can win the next time.
As you full well know, our electoral system is built up largely on cult of personality, and people judge the parties as much as they judge the people. Mm-hmm. Did you feel judged by the electorate? And what can you do to change, to find a way to resonate, to grow the tent more, to resonate with more people?
I mean, it's the job of voters to judge the leaders. So, I mean, of course, that's what they do, and that's what they should do. And I'm happy though that we had 8.3 million people make the judgment that they wanted to vote Conservative. That was the biggest vote count we've ever had. How do we get even more? Like I say, I think people know I'm a fighter. They need to know what I'm fighting for and why I'm fighting for them. That I'm fighting for the people who, the single mom who's got to put water in her kid's milk because she can't afford groceries, or the 35-year-old struggling for a home, or the countless people who tell me they're afraid to go outside because of the catch and release criminal justice system. I think we have to continue to broaden the argument to make it clear to those people that not only are we fighting for them, but that we can solve the problems that the government has created for them, and that we're doing it for the right reason.
You mentioned some of those really key policy pieces. You're right. You force significant change, but those changes are done. We don't know what the next 4 years will present, but considering that we've seen movement on those, what are the next set of issues that you are going to attempt to focus on here to tell voters, look, there is more that we can do to fix the problems that you are feeling?
Look, there are growing problems that the government hasn't addressed. The out-of-control immigration, which continues to grow our population faster than there are homes, jobs, and health care to provide. We need to have more people leaving than coming for several years, while our housing market, our job market, and our healthcare system catches up. I think the next one is jobs. Increasing job loss every month is getting worse and worse. The Liberal government is killing jobs with high taxes and bureaucratic delays. A lot of our young people are unable to find work. So we need to unleash job creation with a free enterprise agenda of low taxes, fast permits, more competition. I think public safety will continue to be there. I mean, Mr. Carney has done nothing on crime, nothing to reverse the Liberal policies that caused this problem. And we're the only party promising 3 strikes you're out. That is 3 convictions and no bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. We're the only party that has any solutions on drugs. Liberals still want to keep giving out drugs and effectively legalizing it by non-enforcement. We want to enforce the laws, stop giving out tax-funded drugs, and instead give out treatment. So those are the issues you're going to see us focus on to make life safe, affordable, and secure.
Let's focus in on some of those issues. They
Sure.
matter a lot to British Columbians, as you well know. When we talk about jobs, we recently saw BC Ferries make a decision to send what we believe is more than $1 billion to China to build 4 new vessels. At the same time, the federal government's infrastructure bank has provided $1 billion loan, while the transportation minister said no money should go to ferries.
Right.
What do you make of this in terms of prioritizing building ships here in this country?
I think it's a terrible decision, and we, as today, the Conservatives, federal Conservatives, have called for the federal infrastructure bank to cancel the $1 billion loan. We shouldn't be giving federal tax dollars to subsidize jobs overseas. The federal government should only be funding job creation in Canada. And so that's why we've said, let's end this loan. It doesn't have any benefit for the Canadian people. And as a result, the Liberals have betrayed what they promised. They said they were going to create jobs here in Canada. Instead, they're favoring more outsourcing to a country that does not have our labor standards, has slave labor that we can't compete with, at a time when we need to build up our industrial base here in Canada.
It does have some benefit. The loan itself will save BC Ferry $650 million. If they don't have the loan, it will cost more to taxpayers to build the vessels. Are you worried at all about ferry users in this province who will have to pay more if the ferries cost more to build?
Well, first of all, we have to ask, why does it cost so much more to build in Canada? And part of the reason, yes, part of the reason is that they're using worker exploitation over in China. That's not a good reason. The second reason is that this has become a very hard place to build anything. We have very slow permits. The Liberal government imposes very high taxes and red tape, and an uncompetitive economy. We need to unleash a free enterprise system in this province and country that will allow us to make stuff that's affordable again. It's not good enough to drive business away with high taxes and heavy red tape and then turn around and say, well, I guess we have to buy from the rest of the world what we could be making here at home. And that's what we're proposing, lower taxes, faster permits, a more pro-business environment that will allow us to bring home those jobs.
But is there a concession that if the loan is canceled, or even if the whole contract is canceled, it will cost people here more now? Like, does that not worry you for those reliant upon using the ferries?
I think the federal government's going to be providing tax dollars. It should be to create Canadian jobs. And they should structure the deal in a way that does that. And you know, there are a number of ways you can do that. One is you can directly purchase from Canadian suppliers. The other is you can team up with allied countries that commit to providing job benefits in Canada. That's what we do with our armed forces. We buy military hardware from abroad. We insist that those companies invest in jobs here at home. And that's the kind of thing that would allow us to win for workers in British Columbia, but also win for taxpayers and the people paying the fares.
You're acutely aware of the debate around pipelines
Yes.
in this country. Premier David Eby has said that he wants to focus on twinning the Trans Mountain pipeline, does not support removing the tanker ban, something that you have called for repeatedly, and says there's no point of talking right now about a new pipeline to Prince Rupert because there is no proponent. Do you believe the BC government should get out of the way here if Prime Minister Carney says that this is a project of the national interest?
Well, it does. Whether or not Mr. Carney says that, it is in our national interest to have another pipeline to the West Coast because it's the shortest distance that leads to the biggest global market. There are well over 2 billion energy consumers in Asia that we need to reach, and the fastest way to reach them is to go from Hardisty, Alberta, to somewhere in northern British Columbia, whether it's Rupert or Kitimat or some other place. And yes, it has to happen. And with respect to Premier Eby, I nothing personal against him, but I disagree with him on this. And I believe the federal government needs to show leadership on interprovincial projects, including pipelines, and just make the decision. We can't wait for unanimity. All we're going to do if we block the pipeline is give the Americans more of our oil at enormous discounts, effectively making a donation of tens of billions of dollars to them. Why, when they're hitting us with tariffs, would we want to be more dependent on being underpaid by the Americans. Let's get world prices and let's break our dependence on the Americans with more pipelines.
Because you know the complications as well, in essence, of telling a province, we are going to come through your territory. There have been legitimate concerns in BC around the environmental impact. There continue to be concerns around the coastline. I spoke to Premier Smith about this recently. There is still concern around a spill on the coast. So how do you address those to the satisfaction? And I know we're just one country, but British Columbians also wonder, how do we benefit from this project that in essence crosses through our land, where the money is largely flowing through to Alberta?
Okay, well, I'll address that. So you want me to address the environment part or the benefit to BC?
Yeah, let's start at the environment
Okay.
and we'll work to the benefit next.
Look, we all agree that tankers are needed. If you allow them in the south part of the Pacific coast, why the north? Why not the north? We allow them to arrive, to come and go in St. John, New Brunswick. So it doesn't make sense to say that there's only one place in Canada where we are not going to allow any tankers to go. If you had a ban on every coast, then you wouldn't be able to move energy anywhere around the world. It doesn't make sense. We have shown as a country that we can ship large volumes of hydrocarbons with almost no incident, 99.99999% incident free, and that there's no reason why that can't happen again. BC's northern part of BC is the best place, the shortest distance, and can do the most good. Now, what does British Columbia get out of this deal? Well, first of all, the pipe fitters, the welders, the electricians, the industrial carpenters who will work on the export terminal, they will all get jobs. The surrounding communities near the terminus will get jobs. And of course, when Alberta booms, British Columbia benefits. Like, I mean, where to start? You know, when Albertans are doing well, they come and spend their money. We come and spend our money, and the Okanagan and the Kootenays and others. So we are Albertans. We're that alien species that invades every summer and winter to spend money here. But beyond that, it's the parts that the energy sector buys from British Columbia manufacturers. It's the truckers who end up getting jobs. It's the restaurants that service along the construction line. It's good for all of Canada. We've got to start thinking of ourselves like as a country again, where one province's benefit is good for its neighboring province.
It reminds me of when you and I were together in Penticton during
Yes.
the campaign, and you declared it your favorite place in Canada, I think.
I think I said the Okanagan is the best part of Alberta.
Yeah, you did say that. You did say that.
I probably could have got myself in trouble saying that, but anyway, it's good for a laugh.
The environment is also
Yeah.
extremely crucial here. There are concerns about carbon emissions. What do you say about prioritizing a new pipeline when we could already be maximizing the Trans Mountain pipeline and mitigating potentially some of those environmental concerns that exist out there?
Well, let's do it right. You know, we have the most environmentally conscious and responsible energy sector anywhere in the world, and we're choosing between that and letting the Russians and the Saudi Arabians and others dominate the energy market. Why would we want to give them control over a market when they have none of our environmental standards? Let's frankly allow our energy sector to grow and reinvest in improved environmental protections. That would make us richer and cleaner and entirely better off. On the natural gas side, we know that when you ship gas, you displace dirtier foreign coal, and you can massively reduce the resulting global emissions of powering grids in India, China, and other parts of Asia. So our clean Canadian energy is actually part of the solution, not the problem.
Let's chat a bit about immigration. You mentioned that earlier. British Columbia, you can see a big part of Metro Vancouver out there has been hit hard by a growth in population. And the challenge has been keeping up with that, keeping up with the schools, keeping up with the hospitals, keeping up with the roads. What does the federal government need to do here to help support provinces like British Columbia to work through the crush and pressure associated with immigration?
Well, we need to reverse the out-of-control open borders experiment the Liberals have imposed over the last 10 years, and which, frankly, Mr. Carney is continuing. He still has Justin Trudeau's population targets, and he's not even meeting them. So we need a big change. One, we need fewer international students and fewer temporary foreign workers. The temporary foreign workers are coming in suppressing wages. Large corporations are hiring people from poor countries to drive down wages and block our kids from getting jobs. So we need to cut back on temporary foreign workers. We need to crack down on fraudulent refugee claims, of which there are too many. We need to more quickly remove people from the country who are not real refugees but who are ragging the puck in the system. Those are some of the things that we'll need to do to ensure that more of the temporary residents that are here leave than new people come, so that we can bring our population down while we continue to bring up the number of homes, jobs, and healthcare resources available for our people.
Premier David Eby recently said that one of the reasons we're seeing an increase in measles cases is because of conservative rhetoric. Also talk on social media around the effectiveness of vaccine. Do you worry at all that an anti-vaccine movement is causing an increase in cases of measles?
I haven't seen. I don't know. I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that particular allegation. I haven't heard him say that, but I'd be interested in seeing what evidence he has of that. Yeah.
Let's talk about building out relationships. You know, one of the things you were criticized for in the campaign was not forging a better relationship with Premier Doug Ford in Ontario. Premier Tim Houston in Nova Scotia said the same thing. The sense here is that there were some mayors who would call themselves conservatives were concerned that you didn't come meet with them. Do you need to do more work to build relationships with other like-minded conservatives across the country as you aim towards the next 4-year election cycle?
I think we have to build alliances with people who share our policy objectives and our goals for the country. So we're going to be continuing to do that and working hard to get things done as a team. I think what we've seen right now is the country needs to lock arms and unite in order to face the tariff threats from the U.S., to get trade going across our country, get big projects approved. So we'll be building alliances with everybody who wants to do that.
Yeah, let's finish the conversation on tariffs and Trump. So
Right.
More threats from the president around copper, threats around other industries in this country. What needs to be done here domestically to protect ourselves as we work towards removing interprovincial trade barriers, but also as part of the Prime Minister's negotiations with the United States?
Well, we need to negotiate from a position of strength. Right now, our economy is extremely weak. It's become overly reliant on the Americans. Liberal policies of high taxes, blocking natural resource projects, red tape have driven $500 billion of investment out of Canada into the United States. Mr. Carney has not reversed those liberal policies. He's talked a big game, but so far there are no results. He needs to move quickly to get things done because, he was there as an advisor to Justin Trudeau for 5 years, giving all of this bad advice. And many of Mr. Trudeau's ministers are still in the cabinet who implemented the problem that got us here in the first place. So if we're going to be an independent, self-reliant country that stands on its own 2 feet, then we need to unlock more investment. Like I said, get rid of capital gains tax for those who reinvest in Canada. Rapidly approve mines, pipelines, power dams, and other massive infrastructure, LNG plants. All of those things have to be done much quicker so that we can bring home the productions and paychecks that will make us more independent and I should say Trump-proof our economy going into the future.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.